Classification and Application of Spirit. Siafang. May 28, 2023. Edited by Chinyu. Spirit has only one source, which is the vibration wave caused by the heartbeat of the greatest creator's heart. This wave, with a frequency of 1 Hz, can penetrate through the entire universe and is responsible for the movement and changes in the material world, as well as the survival of all life. Therefore, there is no classification of spirit. The heartbeat of all living beings is driven by the vibration wave of the greatest creator as spirit. The greatest creator as spirit is not only the primary driving force of the universe but also its eternal driving force. The mysterious and unfathomable superstring recognized by scientists is the spirit of the greatest creator. So, where do the so-called evil spirits, manifestations of bodhisattvas, and spirit possession come from? And what about terms like spirituality, spiritual power, spiritual perception, and spiritual phenomena? Let's consider a scenario where we place a sponge, a towel, a wooden block, and an iron block in the open and let them be sprinkled with a drizzle. In the end, we observe that the sponge absorbs the most water, followed by the towel, while the iron block absorbs the least. Despite receiving a similar amount of water on the same surface area from the drizzle, why does the sponge absorb the most water and the iron block the least? We find that the sponge absorbs more water because it has more hollow spaces in its structure, whereas the structure of the iron block is dense with fewer hollow spaces. The hollower an object is, the easier it is to absorb more water, whereas denser objects have a harder time absorbing more water. The greatest creator as spirit is like that drizzle, evenly distributed in any time and space of the universe. Or we can say that the vibration waves of the greatest creator spirit propel all material movements and heartbeats without any loss. The variation in spiritual qualities such as high spirituality, strong spiritual power, and acute spiritual perception among different living beings is related to their life structure. It is like how the structure of a sponge, towel, wooden block, or iron block determines their ability to absorb water. From this, we notice a phenomenon: the emptier something is, the more it can accommodate. Conversely, the more solid something is, the less it can accommodate. This phenomenon enlightens us that the emptier a person's heart is, the more it can resonate with the vibration of the greatest creator as spirit. On the other hand, a solid heart has a harder time resonating with the greatest creator as spirit. In other words, the level of a person's spirituality, the strength of their spiritual power, and the sensitivity of their spiritual perception all depend on the state of their heart, whether it is empty or solid. The emptier the heart, the more it can resonate with the greatest creator as spirit at the same frequency, while the more solid it is, the more challenging it becomes to resonate with the greatest creator as spirit. Based on this deduction, we can draw a conclusion: the emptier the heart, the higher the person's spirituality, the stronger their spiritual power, and the sharper their spiritual perception. Conversely, the more solid the heart, the lower the person's spirituality, the weaker their spiritual power, and the duller their spiritual perception. Once we understand this conclusion, I invite you to read the Heart Sutra, and all mysteries will become clear, with the sky cleared of any obstructions. Here is the full text of the Heart Sutra. When Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, Lord who looks down with compassion, attained enlightenment through his profound wisdom, he realized that all forms, feelings, thoughts, behaviors, and cognitions are only illusions. With this realization, he moved beyond all suffering and difficulty. Sariputra. Therefore, the tangible comes from the invisible which contains it. There are no essential differences between the two, and the same applies for feelings, thoughts, behavior, and cognition. No matter which of the above, none of their natures have birth or death, being or non-being, defilement or purity, or increasing or decreasing. Therefore, the nature of the world and of life is invisible. Neither any individuals, nor any of their sensations listed above really exist. Thinking, and our physical perceptions of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling mislead us into our illusions and apply questions to our cognitions about good versus evil, ego versus non-ego, wise versus unwise, life versus death, and attainment versus non-attainment of supreme dharma. All of these perceptions are only illusions. The Bodhisattva relied on the wisdom that could bring him to the shores of freedom. He was entirely free from worry and thus overcame all fears and all that upset him, leaving behind this distorted, illusory world, and ultimately attaining nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future have and will continue to rely on that same wisdom to bring them to the shores of freedom, to attain supreme authentic wisdom ultimately. Therefore, know that wisdom that can bring us to the shore of freedom is a great spiritual mantra, a great bright mantra, a supreme mantra, an unequaled mantra. It can remove all suffering, it is genuine and not false. It reads, go, go, go. Go to the other shore with transcending wisdom, go to the realm of freedom, go to attain enlightenment soon, just go. When the mind is without obstructions, there is no fear. When the mind is free from worry, there is no fear, one can distance oneself from delusional dreams, attain ultimate nirvana, become a celestial being or a Buddha, and journey to the Elysium world to obtain eternal life. Is there any basis for this? Yes, when the mind is free from worry, it is empty. When the mind is empty, it can resonate 100% with the greatest creator as spirit. When it resonates with the greatest creator as spirit, one can be in harmony with the greatest creator. Since the greatest creator is eternal, one attains eternal life. So, what about evil spirits? Evil spirits are vibrations that oppose the spirit of the greatest creator. Once an individual confronts the vibration wave of the greatest creator as spirit, they themselves become an evil spirit. Specifically speaking, evil spirits are everywhere, filling the void. The manifestations of bodhisattvas are revelations given by the heavens to people. These manifestations occur almost every day, such as sandstorms, super typhoons, hailstorms, floods, droughts, and snowfall in June. All these phenomena are manifestations of bodhisattvas. Spirit possession refers to departed souls who, due to resentment or regrets, cannot transcend into the afterlife and remain in the space between yin and yang. They borrow the bodies of living individuals to express their desires. Another situation is when the influential thoughts of ancestors control and influence the thinking of present-day individuals. These individuals lack their own thoughts and solely rely on the thoughts of their predecessors to contemplate and judge present viewpoints and phenomena. In summary, when individuals lack their own thoughts and will, only reiterating and expressing the thoughts and will of others, they are experiencing spirit possession. In this sense, the majority of humanity is beings possessed by spirits. The utilization of the greatest creator as spirit is straightforward. As long as we empty our hearts and remove all obstructions, resonating at the same frequency with the greatest creator as spirit is the best method and approach.